ADN or BSN, which one is right for you? When you're thinking about costs and what's going on in your life currently, it can be hard to kind of decide which one is going to be the right choice. Now, I did make a video about this earlier on when I was in nursing school, and I'm going to kind of go through this again because I'm going to let you know if my opinion about this has changed. So let's get started. So in my video, back when I was in the nursing program, I think what I was saying was misconstrued. Now, you have to do what's right for you. Let me just say that first and foremost. So I still haven't changed my opinion. I think going the ADN route would be best if you're trying to consider your finances. As an older adult, if you're watching this might be the thing for you because you want to get in, you want to get that degree, and you want to get out. Now, if you have a little bit more time and you just don't want to go back in and have to go to get your bachelor's, then going the bachelor's route straight and directly into it might be the thing for you as well. Some things to consider are the criteria for entering into the ADN program versus the BSN program. So look at those things when you're looking at your university versus your junior college. If you did not know, the ADN is an associate's degree in nursing and it's a 2-year degree. The BSN is a bachelor's of science in nursing, which can be obtained at a university or a private college. Now, the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing is a 4-year degree, but that is because it is also including your prerequisites for 2 years.
What the hell is even that?
That's something you might want to consider if you're thinking about the cost, because do you want to have to pay for prerequisites at a university? Do you want to have to pay for your prerequisites at the cost of a university when you could also fulfill those prerequisites at a junior college at the cost of a junior college?
Oh God, please, no! No! No!
So consider that. You could also do your prerequisites at a junior college and then try to get into that Bachelor's of Science program, do the 2 years worth of education. So we're going to go over some numbers, and these are averages. Some of these are averages. And the average cost of an ADN program is $3,000 to $17,000. Things you want to consider are public versus private colleges. Public colleges are going to most likely be less expensive than a private university. You want to also consider, is the school in or out of district, meaning is it out of your area or is it in your area? Because if it's out of your area, you're most likely going to have costs that are increased because you aren't an actual resident of that county or state. How long is the program? When it comes to an ADN program, typically, like I stated, it is 2 years, especially when you are studying full-time. And most nursing programs at junior colleges are full-time. And then there might be some additional fees, such as registration fees, fees for books, things of that nature. Now, the average cost at a community college, you can expect to pay anywhere from $6,000 to $35,000 for an ADN program, but some sources indicate that it does cost, you can get in at $3,000 to $17,000. So just check what school that you're going to. Now, when it comes to the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing at a university, your average cost for a 4-year BSN program, it can range from $40,000 to $120,000 or even higher. And again, this depends on if you're going to a public university or a private university. Private universities cost more. I've heard Chamberlain has an exorbitant cost, so just kind of check. A public university to get your BSN in-state might be about $40,000 to $80,000, and with an average yearly cost of $9,750. Now, if you're going out of state, it's going to be more expensive because, again, you're not a resident of that state. So it can be 100K or 100,000 to 200,000 for a 4-year program. And the average yearly cost for tuition is going to be about 38,421 according to some of these sources. And there are some factors that influence the cost. Public versus private. Are you going to a public university or a private one? Again, private universities are going to cost more. In-state versus out-of-state. University reputation and the location of it. So you want to make sure that they are certified by certain agencies when you get your bachelor's degree. Keep in mind that the well-regarded universities are going to have higher costs of living areas and higher tuition fees. There are some accelerated BSN programs as well to consider. So if you have a BSN already in some other field, you may be able to qualify to get into an accelerated BSN program. So just check your schools. Just check and see if that's available at the school you want to go to. There are some additional fees similar to ADNs, to the ADN programs. You're gonna have book fees, you're gonna have registration fees and other fees associated with tuition costs going to a Bachelor of Science program. Now, if your thing is time, an ADN program will most likely be beneficial to you. 2 years in the core program versus the BSN, which includes 4 years altogether. And it will directly impact the amount of tuition that you pay. Now, the institution type. We all know that community colleges tend to be less than private or public university. And you're looking at the type of education that you will receive in an ADN program, you are developing your technical skills as a nurse. So you're learning to insert the IVs, how to do wound care, how to do all of the technical skills when it comes to patients. And when you go into the BSN program, you have those same things, but you get a little extra. You get more papers, you get more things associated with leadership so that you can develop that education and become a charge nurse. You have the ability of becoming a charge nurse because you have your bachelor's degree, depending on what hospital you go to, but most hospitals want that bachelor's if you want to be something in leadership. And it gives you that leg up because you are one step away if you go and apply for an MSN. But wait, there are other things that have come about in the past coming years when it comes to getting your MSN, which I will go over in a minute. But as I said, when you get your BSN, you qualify for leadership roles, management roles in the hospital, and research and public health roles. As an ADN, you have that first degree that allows you to be a nurse and get your foot in the door. Now, keep in mind that these are just averages, and you have to look at your school's particular fees and their policies. And you also want to include room and board. So if you already established in your own home or you already have your own place to stay, whatever it may be, you have to incorporate that into the costs. Now, financial aid and some scholarships can also assist with these fees. So make sure that you take a look at your financial aid at your current school. Pell Grants, federal aid, all of that. Now, when it comes to my own experience, I did go the ADN route because as an older adult, I just wanted to get in there and get out. I did do my prerequisites because I took a look at my transcripts and I found that I was only 5 classes away from being able to apply for the nursing program. So I did that. I did that when I was pregnant. I did that when I wasn't pregnant. I did that. And then I went into the ADN program. I also applied to that university that was near me for my bachelor's degree. However, it was really impacted, and on all the forums, when you look at the school that I was applying to, people with 4.0s weren't getting accepted. So I just casted a wide net. I applied to LVN programs, I applied to ADN programs, BSN programs, and the school that was an hour away from me called me back. And the school that was an hour away from me called me back, and I was able to get in. So I did all of that, got hired as a nurse about 2 months after completing the program in a new grad nurse program, and decided to go for my bachelor's shortly thereafter. So I enrolled in Capella University's FlexPath. because that was right for my life. I don't have time for all the fluff or to go and drive to a brick and mortar school. I just needed to get my bachelor's. I got in there and got my bachelor's within 3 months. So I completed 2 years of my ADN education, went on the Capella Flex path, and got my BSN in 3 months, give or take. So I started in November and I got my bachelor's and completed the program by January 30th of the next year. So it only took me a short time to get my bachelor's. So that's something that might be good for you as well to consider. And when I did FlexPath, they do it by every 3 months. They have a fee schedule or a pay schedule. So they give you all the classes, right? They release modules as you complete it and courses as you complete the one before it. And they charge you every 3 months. So I made sure I did all my courses and got all my stuff done in that 3-month period. It was corrected and reviewed by qualified teachers with MSNs and above, and they gave me feedback on every paper that I wrote, and they were very present. So I do recommend that program or looking into it if you are deciding to go this route.
Now we return you to our regular scheduled program.
Now, another thing to consider is that there are ADN to MSN programs. So let's talk a little bit about that. When we talk about the cost of ADN to MSN programs, let's talk a little bit about that. So some of the data shows that an ADN to MSN program can cost about $11,880 to $60,000 or more. And some of the more affordable programs can be estimated to cost between $19,000 and $25,000. This is weird, but I'm assuming that they are not in California. So, and that is for the entire program. So do your research on the program that you want to attend. The more accelerated programs, or those at private universities, can reach upwards of $30,000 to $48,000 for an ADN to MSN program. A few programs in private institutions can even approach $72,000 or more. Now again, it's the same things as looking or considering, it's the same things that you should be considering for an ADN and a BSN program, such as private versus public, online versus on campus. Online programs can be more affordable. I'm assuming that somewhere in there you're going to have to find a preceptor to get you those skills. Consider that. Program length as well. ADN to MSN's programs, they vary in length. An accelerated program might have a higher intensity to it, so just be prepared for that, and potentially some higher overall costs. Program length, it can vary from 6 months to over 3 years, so consider that. If you're going to ADN to MSN but you're trying to become a nurse practitioner, you might have a higher tuition. You might have higher tuition rates due to the fact that you're trying to become a specialized faculty member or a clinician. So just keep that in mind. Another thing to consider is the credits and the per credit costs. Some of these programs charge based on per credit hours. So the cost per credit can vary significantly. The cost per credit can vary significantly based on the school that you're trying to attend. And again, there may be additional fees such as technology fees, some application fees, resource kits, things of that nature. Books and supplies as well factor in about $1,000 to $3,000, and living expenses, room and board. When you're looking at RN to MSN, here are some schools that offer low tuition. Check if these schools are available in your state. Look at that school's particular fee structure. Because here in California, Chamberlain has been known to be quite expensive.
Okay!
And also, we don't just do online. Another thing to consider is that these figures can change. So make sure that you're doing your own due diligence and looking at your school's website and making sure that these figures are correct for you. Some schools have a partnership. Some community colleges have a partnership with the local university to where they can offer an accelerated ADN to BSN program at the community college. So some point in the ADN program, you then start to transfer over to learning the BSN portion of the program, and you end up coming out with your BSN and your ADN. So, which after you obtain your BSN, the ADN kind of diminishes itself. So check that out at your own school if you're considering that RN to BSN pathway, where they combine the ADN and the BSN. It's not the ADN to BSN per se. The ADN BSN that I'm talking about is one where they integrate it together in the same program. So check that out and see if your school offers that. Now after you get your ADN, if you are willing to go to the BSN route, then again, that total cost for an RN to BSN program can range from $5,000 to $30,000, with the median around $17,500 based on where you're trying to go. Some of the affordable programs can be $10,000, and they are out there. Like Carolina University offers in-state tuition RN to BSN around $2,800 for the entire program. And Florida Gateway College is another affordable option, estimated at around $5,125. Now, as I mentioned before, there are some other universities that mention cheaper ones, and I went the Capella route, and Capella has been known to offer cheap tuition. So just kind of take a look at the program that you're trying to go to, check out Capella, because it worked for me. And so if you enjoyed the content, hopefully this video was helpful to you and it helps you to make the decision for you. I still think that the ADN is the more practical way to go if you just want to get in and get out and still have the skills. The other thing is, when you go to get your bachelor's, if you decide that the bachelor's is right for you and the next step that you want to take, then you are already in a nursing position with that nursing money to pay for that BSN. Also, the hospital that you work for, or the facility that you work for, or whomever you work for, may have the funds to provide tuition cost or to cover some of that tuition cost when you go to get your BSN. So consider that as well. Consider that as well, that your tuition may be covered by the facility that you are actively working for as an ADN. And that did help me. I got my degree at a lower cost and came out with no debt overall. So if you are looking to make a financially smart decision, I would say the ADN and then go get your BSN afterwards. But if you're looking to be one and done, go get your bachelor's, and the bachelor's behind your name is important to you because you would like to consider leadership or management roles at the hospital later on or have more options. Go into your bachelor's degree. Either way, you have to look at your life and decide what is best for you, and that was what was best for me. Either way, we are all nurses, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You're a nurse. Even though someone at the facility down the road may make you feel like it does matter. It does matter if you're going into management, but it doesn't matter if you don't want to go that route. So those are my tips, and I hope these were helpful to you. If it was, please do me a favor, smash that like button, share, comment down below if you have any tips or tricks for anyone. Share it with the community. Subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.